Please call the roll.
Supervisor Fountain?
Here.
Treasurer Horning?
Here.
Clerk Jofew here. Trustee Collier?
Here.
Trustee Germain?
Here.
Trustee Harper?
Here.
Trustee Petrucci? Here.
Thank you. Item number 4 is approval of agenda.
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Treasurer Horning, second by Trustee Germain. Any discussion?
Just want to make sure everybody received the addition for 7D, the resolution MDOT required.
Yep. Did everybody see that? Okay.
Yes.
Very good. There's no other discussion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Call to the public this evening. Anybody here call to the public? Good evening. If you'd like to come over here and state your name for us, please.
Yes, sir. Good evening. My name is Paul Young. I live in Brighton, and so of course here I am in Heartland Township, and you may be asking, why is someone from out of town here to talk with you tonight? Well, I thank you for the opportunity to do so. I am running for Congress. I'm a former Trump administration official. I'm a Michigan native. Worked in my family business. I'm a former prosecutor as well. And as I've been working through the 8th District, which includes, as I think all of you know, Ingham County, Livingston County, and the north part of Oakland County, what I've been hearing from people throughout the 8th District is frustration, if not quite a bit of anger, really, with the current representation. And so as I've spoken with not just Republicans, not just independents, but even Democrats, there's a feeling that we should have new representation in Congress, better representation in Congress. So I came here tonight just to introduce myself. Again, my name is Paul Young. I spell my last name Junge. When I was a kid, my buddies called me Jungie, but my family's always pronounced the name Young. So thank you for the opportunity to come and introduce myself, and I hope in the months ahead I will earn the support of the people of Heartland Township as we seek to get, I would say, new and improved representation in Congress. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else this evening that call to the public? Being none, we'll move on to item number 6, which is approval of our consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Trustee Kalani, second by Treasurer Horning. Any discussion on the consent agenda? Being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Item number 7, pending and new business. Number 1 is zoning amendment number 19-001, architectural standards for light industrial and industrial. I believe.
I don't have my computer up yet. I'm still trying.
So the Planning Commission, every year when we get together, we discuss different issues within the ordinance. These are 2 of those items that the Planning Commission has been working on. If you had a chance to review this document and the next one, they have done an extensive background on what happens, what's happening here currently and what's happened in the neighboring communities. And I'd like to thank the Planning Commission for doing a very, very thorough job on both of these. Joe, did you want to have any comment on that?
No, I have no comments on it.
Any comments from the board on the architectural standards for LI and I? If there aren't any questions,
I'll move to approve zoning amendment 19-001, architectural standards for LI and I, as outlined in the memorandum and resolution.
Support. The
motion
only
by.
comment on those is basically these amendments, I think, were consistent with what other neighboring communities have been doing, and we've been kind of cleaning up a lot of our ordinances. So this is kind of a long-term process that we're going through. And so I apologize for still trying to get my computer up, but I just have that comment that certainly we all support those changes.
Thank you. So there was a motion by Treasurer Horning and Trustee Harper. We had a support. Is there any discussion? Being none, I'll have the clerk please call the roll.
Trustee Harper?
Yes.
Trustee Germain?
Yes.
Trustee Petrucci?
Yes.
Supervisor Fountain?
Yes.
Clerk Jofew? Yes. Trustee Collier?
Yes.
Treasurer Horning?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Item number 7B is zoning amendment number 19-002, amend single-family residential standards. This was an amendment that takes place along a lot of our lake areas where there's a lot of non-conforming lots. Again, this was an area that's been discussed for several years. The Planning Commission, again, and staff did a nice job of researching all the surrounding areas for these non-conforming lots, especially when it comes to somebody that may have a house on the lake, which is divided by a road, then they have an outlot on the other side. The zoning ordinance didn't allow, it allowed limited improvements.
That's correct.
And now it offers people the ability to improve their properties and have them be more usable. And I talked to Larry Fox today, and he stated that you just can't come in and buy a lot. It's got to be within a certain amount of feet, which is pretty close to the house that's across the street. So
There's also-
somebody just couldn't come in and buy a lot and then put a garage on it.
Correct. That was the concern, I think, the way in which the assessor has indicated, if you have a lot separated by a road, you have to have two separate parcel ID numbers, versus when a lot of those lots, basically, those roads typically have a garage on the other side, so the concern is obviously someone coming in and purchasing a lot and just putting a garage on it, but that should not happen as long as it's understood that the property can't be sold without the other property coming with it, so to speak. So then there was discussion as well about, lofts and what could be built there, because in some cases, some of the residents have expanded the purpose and allowed for, somewhat living quarters on the top or whatever. So those architectural standards are designed to really address some of those issues. I will note that there's been a number of what we had on our books made it very difficult, and a number of residents had to go to the Zoning Board of Appeals in order to get changes that they wanted to make. And it kind of was an archaic way of looking at these things. A lot of these are non-conforming lots. They really are. So they are kind of a special kind of situation when you're located on a lake. So again, we support the change to the zoning ordinance.
Thank you for the update. Is there any questions? Being none, I'll entertain a motion for the resolution.
Move to approve as outlined in the memorandum resolution. I'd like to thank the Planning Commission for their hard work, and wanted to note that the Livingston County Planning Commission has also recommended approval.
Support.
A motion by Trustee Germain, second by Clerk Schofu. Any discussion? Being none, I'll have the clerk please call the roll.
Trustee Collier?
Yes.
Trustee Petrucci?
Yes.
Treasurer Horning?
Yes.
Clerk Chopu? Yes. Trustee Germain?
Yes.
Trustee Harper?
Yes.
Supervisor Fountain?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Our third resolution this evening is resolution number 19-004 of Handy Lake Office rezoning. There was apparently, we think it might have been a mistake made
I
a
can
while
explain
back.
a little bit
Yeah,
for
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, this was an interesting item that was just sort of discovered by, one of the residents who lived over there. If you look, if you had the zoning map up, and you could take a look at the zoning map, it shows that there's this commercial area that really is actually part of a residential area. It's all residential. And in order for folks to renovate or do anything, they're stuck in a zoning classification that doesn't fit what's actually present there. We're not sure exactly why. We think it was a mistake, probably done many, many years ago when that area was originally zoned. I don't know if you're bringing that up or not,
Yeah.
and what we're talking about. I don't have a pointer. Do
So
I?
Joe, this is on M59, correct?
Correct, it's on M59.
So all this frontage, these are the converted to offices, and then back here is residential.
It's all residential, but this whole thing is considered commercial. But this is all residential right here. It's always been residential. And for some reason, it's designated as commercial.
We ran into this issue before in the village. When you have small parcels, you see how big this map is. The little parcels sometimes get gobbled up into wrong colors.
again, we're not talking about the land use map, we're talking about the zoning map. So
Yeah.
this is clearly an error, and that's what led to us making an amendment to change this area right here from commercial to residential.
So, Joe, could you explain the process, what happened? You guys had a public hearing, correct?
Correct. We had a public hearing, I think it was 4 weeks ago, because it wasn't 2 weeks ago.
And those folks were all notified?
Correct. And one resident did appear. They were one of the residents who ran into this problem, and that's what led to this change, so.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move to adopt ordinance number 19-004, the Handy Lake Office rezoning, ordinance to amend the Heartland Township zoning map.
I'll support that.
Motion by trustee Petrusi, second by trustee Kalani. Is there any discussion? Being none, I'll have the clerk please call the roll.
Trustee Germain?
Yes.
Supervisor Fountain?
Yes.
Trustee Collier?
Yes.
Treasurer Horning?
Yes.
Trustee Harper?
Yes.
Clerk Chopu? Yes. Trustee Petrusi?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. And item number 7D is another resolution this evening. At our last meeting, we discussed about the sidewalk improvement and road improvement on M59 close to the old high school. That's going to happen this year, and part of their recommendation and need at the state level is a resolution.
Yeah, you approved the agreement, they need a resolution to go with it.
So this just is going to be a resolution to go with the agreement that we've already signed. So if there's no questions, I'll entertain a motion for that.
I'll move resolution number 20, what's the number? It's not here.
Doesn't have a number yet,
It
but
doesn't have a number yet.
4.
4? Oh, yeah, because it's the early part of the year. 2020-04,
This
resolution,
one's for.
authorization for Heartland Township officials to consummate the
That
contract.
should be, because the last one was 1904, and I couldn't figure out why it wasn't 19003.
those are the application numbers.
Pardon me?
Those numbers,
Those are the application
yeah,
numbers.
those relate to
Yeah.
the
The planning.
We're okay with
department's
another
amendments.
4?
Yep.
All right.
This will be
Yes.
resolution
Okay.
R004.
Okay.
Well, I'll restate that. I'll move resolution number 20-04, authorization for Heartland Township officials to consummate the contract with Michigan Department of Transportation for the construction of an M59 pathway connector.
Support.
Motion by trustee Kalani, second by trustee Petrusi. Any discussion? Being none, I'll have the clerk please call the roll.
Trustee Petrusi?
Yes.
Clerk Chopu? Yes. Trustee Germain?
Yes.
Trustee Collier?
Yes.
Supervisor Fountain?
Yes.
Treasurer Horning?
Yes.
Trustee Harper?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. And next is board reports, and we start this evening with our second meeting with Treasurer Horning.
I have nothing this evening.
Trustee Kalani?
I just wanted to thank the Township Board. It was comforting with the flowers that were sent to my, with respect to my brother's passing last week, and I appreciate the board's thoughts and prayers. It's been very comforting. He was very young, 58 years old, and, well, not very young, but young
Young
enough. So I appreciate, and a few of the folks did show, came to the funeral. I really appreciate your time. It's been tough on the family, so. I don't know if that's a report, but I just thought I'd thank everybody.
Well, thank you. Trustee Germain?
Nothing this evening.
Trustee Harper?
No report.
Trustee Petrusi?
Just like to announce that on February 1st, Saturday, February 1st, 3 o'clock at Heartland High School is the Heartland Deerfield Fire Authority Awards Program. Everybody's invited to attend.
What day is that? It's February 1st?
February 1st, Saturday, February 1st.
In which school?
3 o'clock at the high school.
At the
Real
current-
high school.
At the current high school?
At real high school.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Clerk Schofu?
No report.
Winterfest? Any update on that? Just kind of what's going along well.
Yes. Yeah.
Winter's going great.
The ice rink has been installed. The They're putting the border around it with the hay bales that they're bagging. They've been doing that for the last 2 days. Tent rentals will be here on the Friday before. We have all of the activities lined up. The entertainment has been confirmed. We've got one activity that we're still trying to get a group to run. But other than that, everything else is pretty much done.
And that date
Is
is?
February 8th, noon to 6 o'clock, with fireworks to follow.
Very good. Just briefly, is that everything for you? Just briefly, the Park Site Plan Committee had just a brief meeting before this meeting. We had talked about some improvements potentially for Springer Field, and we've talked about the Phragmites invasive species proposal. We hope to meet again before our meeting at the next meeting. And Mr. West, I didn't even know you were still here, so, but thank you for that input, and we hope to have a recommendation as soon as our next meeting for discussion. So thank you, Bob, for doing that. If there's nothing else this evening, we'll take a short recess, and our top